Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm going to talk about how to take your storyboard panels that you did for the previous class and make them into an animatic so you can time them and do that kind of stuff. And so I'm going to go in. What we need is our panels. So of course you're going to scan your panels, or you're going to have to separate them out in Photoshop, which is exactly what I did. And so now I'm just going to go into import, and I'm going to go import to stage, and I'm going to go find them. And you'll notice that I have all my drawings in my folder here, and everything is ordered 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, 09, 10, 11, 12. And the reason why I do that is all I have to do is click on that first panel, and I click open, and it'll say, "This file appears to be a part of a sequence of images. Do you want to import all of the images in the sequence?" And you say, "Why, yes." And there they are. And they're not timed out. They're all only one frame. So if I hit play, which is return, if I hit the return key, it's like watching a crazy experience. I don't know, a nightmare. So now what we want to do is we want to time these things out. And the other thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we can see it. So I'm gonna say fit in window or show in frame. And if I show frame, then I can see all of the images. Now the other thing that I have going from these images here is it's not at the correct aspect ratio. So I'm going to change the correct aspect. I'm going to change it to an aspect ratio that's going to fit my boards. You guys are working 1280 by 720. Okay, so this is the exact size of your export, 1280 by 720. Because my boards aren't exactly that size, they're actually 235, which is an aspect ratio, and you guys are working in 1185. So that's an extreme widescreen. It's also called anamorphic. So this is an anamorphic range. It's very large. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this, and you'll see it says width. So I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller, and you can see how the window is going to get a little smaller here. I just want to make sure that I just don't cut it off. There we go. And I'll just say it's 1257, and I'm going to move up. I'm going to move this up just a little tiny bit so we can see it. Let me zoom out a little bit more so I can see my size proportions. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up. So again, you will not need to do this, but I'm just going to bring this up so that my images will fit. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it. The fast way would be for me to check the dimensions of my images, but all my images are the same size. Okay, when you pull in yours, I noticed a lot of you guys were doing different sizes and stuff. If you just bring it into the size that's going to come up, and then you should be fine. You can just scale them, and how you can scale them is you click on an image, and right my screen is on. So if I turn off this, it says click content outside of the stage, so I can see the content outside the stage. I can actually hit Q right here, and then holding down the shift key, I can scale an object. So just by hitting Q, and then because it's set to a certain aspect ratio, it's going to snap to the aspect ratio. So when you guys pull in your images, it'll snap to that aspect ratio. Again, if you want to see the full screen, just come over to this little right hand screen size, and then there's the fit in window, which it's going to show the aspect ratio, and you can show frame, you can show show all, and that's going to have everything. And even if you have icons or something, symbols, whatever, if you have that outside here, you can go and find them. And then there's a 75%. If you want to go 100%, 100% is okay, but that's kind of large. I still can't see all my image in there with as small as my screen is. So I'm just going to go fit in window, and that way I can see the whole thing. Okay. Now we want to make this not a fever dream, and we want to turn it into a story. So what we're going to do is we're going to advance out, and this is going to be redundant from some of the stuff we talked about before, but I'm going to hit the F5 key. So I'm using a PC, so I'm hitting F5, and I'm just going to push this out a little tiny bit. And by hitting F5, all it's doing is it's just extending of the time on my key. Okay. My next key, I'm going to extend that time out as well. Now, I realize that you guys don't have reference. You haven't shot video of reference of biplanes flying over in a dogfight, thankfully, because they don't even fly biplanes anymore, and good thing you're not in a war. It's hard to find reference for that. So I'm just going to kind of do this for feel. I've watched enough war movies with biplanes in it that I kind of know what biplanes behave like. Not that that's expected from you guys, but when you're shooting your stuff, make sure that you check your reference, and you can see what the reference is timed to. You can go and check your reference timing. Okay. All right. So we got the plane. It's flying in. And then here it comes and hits the ground. We're not going to do that for very long because that's I want that to kind of have some quick impact. And then we basically do a reverse image here, reverse angle, and let the plane fly over. So now I'm just going to show this guy. And in the video that I've showed earlier, there's all this jumping around. This particular image it's kind of moving around. It's kind of shaking like the plane is out of control and that kind of stuff. And I'm just going to start out by selecting a frame on my timeline, and I'm just going to hit F6. And if I hit F6, you'll see that it's made a new keyframe. It's exactly the same as the previous keyframe, which is this one. It's just a new keyframe, and then what I can do is I can just select, and you'll notice because I hit Q earlier, don't hit Command Q or Control Q because it'll quit. So we want to do that. But you'll notice that there's little boxes on the outside of the windows, and those are for scaling and that kind of stuff. All I want to do is I want to just drop down a frame or my image in the frame, and then I'm just going to hit F6 again. If I move down the timeline a little tiny bit, and I'm going to bring my image up a little tiny bit, and don't worry about the white frame on there. It's not really that big of a deal. You're just doing an animatic. You're just trying to get across the flavor of the action. Okay, if you don't want to make a bunch of camera shake, this is actually called camera shake. And if you don't want to add camera shake, oops, I hit F6 too many times. If you don't want to add camera shake, no big deal. Okay, I'm going to raise this one up again. Now you can copy and paste your frames. I could go back and I could copy this frame and I could paste it in over there, but whatever. I'm going to just do this. In fact, I want this to come over a little tiny bit. And I'll drop this down a little bit more. Then I'll come back over here. Thank you for saving automatically. I'm going to hit F6 again. I'm going to raise this guy up. I'm going to go over here a little tiny bit. And so then I'm just going to come back over here. I'll do it one more time. And we can drop this back. I might be a little too far back, but that's okay. So however you want it to feel, and then now you can start to see it's kind of moving around and stuff. So I'm going to hit the return key again. So if I want to see it play, I can hit return, and oh yeah, a little bit of camera shake. So again, I showed that video earlier, and now I'm just showing you what I've done. Okay. Now we get into the next shot, and that shot is only one frame. So of course I'm going to add some more time. And then I'm going to go to the next frame. And you're going to have to do this for all your frames. I know some are like, oh my God, really? But now you're deciding how long the timing is. Now, if you've made your timing go way out on your timeline, and I don't want that to be that long. I want that to be a little shorter. You click Shift F5 and it'll take away some of the frames that you've added. Okay? So adding frames is F5, and if you want to remove some frames, Shift F5. Now be careful because Shift F5 will also remove your keyframes as well.